So engagement rate versus bounce rate. Which one's better and which one should you use in your reports? Well, let's find out together. Welcome to the channel, my name is Leon. This channel exists to help you grow your website using your analytics data. Thanks to everyone that has been liking my videos and has subscribed to the channels recently. That really helps me get these videos out to as many people as I can. As a way to say thank you, I've created a short cheat sheet on how to grow your website traffic. It contains lots of small and short tips on how you can grow your direct traffic, how you can grow your organic search traffic, how you can use paid media to grow your website traffic. So if you're interested in growing your website traffic, you can grab that cheat sheet for free via a link in the video description. Also, if you like this video and want to watch more, just head over to my channel via the link down below to watch more videos just like this. Alright, bounce rate versus engagement rate. Let's just start with a short history lesson, because before Google Analytics 4, just about every web analytics platform had bounce rate as an important metric to tell us if people liked our site or not. So a high bounce rate just signaled us that we had lots of people coming in that were leaving instantaneously. And a low bounce rate meant that people were actually really liked our site, and because they were clicking through our site and they did not leave immediately upon entering our site. And the definition of bounce rate inside those programs usually was something like this. So a bounce is a session or a visit with just one page view. So if I visit your site and I just visit, for instance, your homepage or a blog post or something, and I leave after that, that would signal as a bounce. But that immediately also shows the weakness of bounce rate, because usually a reading time is not incorporated into bounce rate. That means that if I visit your site and I just visit one page of your site, that visit will always be counted as a bounce. It doesn't matter if I spent 5 milliseconds on your page or I spent 5 years on your page. As long as my visit only spans one single page and not a second or a third page, my visit will be counted as a bounce. And that meant that you could have pages that were actually doing really well, for instance a blog post that people spent lots of time reading, and still have high bounce rate on that page because people didn't click through to a next page. So Google tried to solve this problem in GA4 by dropping bounce rate and adding a new metric into Google Analytics 4. And that new metric is called engagement rate. And engagement rate is actually the opposite of bounce rate. So we're not looking at how many people are leaving our site when they enter, but we're now looking at the percentage of people that are staying on our site after they enter. So a higher engagement rate is actually a good thing and a lower engagement rate is a bad thing. And reading time is now incorporated into this new metric. So I can still be an engaged visit as long as I spend 10 seconds or more on that page. So the new definition of engagement are the visits that have 2 visits or more, just like the old bounce rate definition. But what's now added is that I can still be counted as an engaged visit, as an engaged session, as long as I spend 10 seconds or more actively looking at that page. So on paper, engagement rate is actually a far better metric than bounce rate. So over the last couple of years, I really tried to implement this in everything that I do with Google Analytics 4. So I've taught it in my training what engagement rate is. I've put it into the reports that I built and I've used it in my own analysis. But when doing that, I found a couple of problems over and over and over again. And the first problem is this. I found that engagement rate is actually far more difficult to explain over bounce rate. Because everyone instinctively knows that if people enter our site and that they leave right away, that there's a problem. And we have some research to do on what the problem actually is. But engagement is a little bit more abstract. It can mean different things. So when I teach engagement rate, I just see people staring blankly at me, as opposed to bounce rate. When I explain bounce rate, they immediately know what we're talking about. Second problem with engagement rate is that I found that preventing bounces is actually far more compelling. As I said, everyone instinctively knows that if people enter our site and leave immediately, that we have a problem and we need to do some stuff. But I found that when I looked at, for instance, an engagement rate of 60%, I would always just calculate that back to, okay, that's 40% bounce. Or if I would see a 20% engagement, I would always calculate back, okay, so that's 80% bounce. So I found bounce rate far easier to explain and to remember, and far more compelling metric to act upon. And that's why I believe that Google has added bounce rate back into GA4. It's not there by default, so if you open up a blank Google Analytics 4 property, you will see engagement rate as a primary metric, but you can add it back in to GA4 if you want to. And I've already made a video on how to do that, so I'll link that in the video description. But I've decided to use bounce rate as a primary metric in my trainings, in my reports, and in my own analysis for that reason. Just know that the bounce rate in GA4 has the new definition. So it's not just about a single page that people visited, but reading time is also incorporated in bounce rate. So you can never compare bounce rate in GA4 with bounce rate in other programs, because the definition that underlies that is actually very different. Alright, that's it for today. I hope this video was clear. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, please click like and subscribe to the channel. That really helps me get this channel off the ground and get these videos out to as many people as I can. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Alright, goodbye.